The New York Times Dealbook Summit. This week, the New York Times gathered a roundtable of journalists and media personalities to discuss media trust and biases. Featured Andrew Charlamagne alongside Ben Shapiro, the New Yorker's editor Dave Remnick, and a bunch of other people. Let's just take a look at a clip so you guys can see what I'm talking about if you haven't seen the interview yet.
Business interests at play, the administration seeking settlements in the form of financial forms from corporations. That's absolutely all a pressure campaign. To David's point earlier, it is so much bigger and more serious than that. It is about attacks on journalists and journalism writ large. It's about undermining the idea that there should be a free and fair press in this country. And I think for anyone like David, like me, who has lived in a country where you don't have a free and fair press, where it's normal for military or intelligence officials to show up at your home in the middle of the night, or to demand to see your files, or to threaten you with consequences for your work, the parallels here are terrifying.
Are you living in fear of this?
We now have a taxpayer-funded website on the White House website that lists specific journalists and specific outlets they consider to be enemies.
And we're even having this discussion right now, which is kind of almost 2 years late, because we're having how have podcasts disrupted media? We've already been disrupted again.
We should be talking about how AI is going to disrupt media.
We're having we're having an antiquated discussion about media on traditional media. Okay, but right now we live in 1,000 different realities because we went from fan clubs, which is like Instagram, right, to TikTok. TikTok drives culture, whether you like it or not, and TikTok is pure algorithm, right? What they did is they realized people actually don't want to follow their friends. They want us to feed them the most interesting thing. And interesting could be low-hanging fruit. It could be chaos, fights. Once that happened, it divided us into 1,000 different silos. Those silos that you're now in are getting less views, right? So what do I do to get more views? Ratchet up the dialogue, ratchet up the rhetoric, and now you're saying the most insane stuff because only the most insane stuff crosses over completely.
So at a time when the media industry is more fragmented than ever, with podcasters, streamers, and influencers competing with legacy media companies and traditional journalists for attention, who do you trust? This is
so interesting, and I'm gonna let you really speak on this because you are a media personality who has a podcast. This is you. I
don't know what you're talking about. I'm Mr. Behind the Scenes. I have no idea what you're
really
talking about. But
you're not sitting on the couch with Donald Trump? I'm teasing, but tell me.
No, I know. But I think just to dispel that, I'm not a journalist.
Yes.
Us on Flagrant aren't journalists. We don't have the same responsibilities, in my opinion, that journalists have. And it's like, if Trump or any other politician comes, sits on the couch with us, you have to understand they are running an election. They're trying to get voters. They are trying to appeal to a bunch of different groups. So it's like, we're just curious people. I'm a curious person. Schulz is very curious. We're all just curious people. So it's like, hey, Mamdani, somehow you came out of nowhere and gotten people energized about you. We have so many questions. We want to know, why? Why do the people trust you? Why do the people want to vote for you? And that's really what we do. We don't have a responsibility, or I feel, maybe you might disagree, but I don't think we have a responsibility to ask the hard-hitting questions that journalists should ask if we don't care to ask those questions. That's my thing. It's there could be something going on big in the news, but it's if that's not concerning to me, or if I have no interest, I'm just not going to ask it. So I think that's the difference. Whether or not we are disrupting media or whatever the case is, of course we are. It's easier in today's day and age for anybody to have a podcast. Anybody can do what we're doing right now. Turn on a camera, put a mic in front of your face and talk. That's never been the case. Even fucking 10, 15 years ago, there were gatekeepers. So it's now that you don't have that, everybody has a voice, and then social media allows you to expand that voice. But at the end of the day, journalists, legacy media, that's one thing. Podcasters, entertainers, personalities, that's another thing. And we have to stop acting like we're one and the same.
Totally. I have a devil's advocate question that you do not have to answer. I'm just curious.
I ain't pussy.
I'm curious as well, as a podcaster in this exact moment, have you ever felt a stomach ache or weird or anxious about any of these political interviews? Did you leave ever our Buttigieg or our Trump episode and say ooh, you ever feel uncomfortable?
Yes, I have felt uncomfortable, but more so to be vulnerable with my performance. It's like,
okay.
damn it. I wish I got the chance to ask this question that I really wanted to ask. Oh, I wish I spoke up here or something like that. It's never like, ooh, why did we speak to this person or why did we platform this person? I've never had that. Because it's like we all get to vote on who comes on our show. And if we don't agree or if someone is strong that we shouldn't have this person, we'll never have them on. And we've voted some people down that have wanted to come on the show. So it's like, yeah, I've never felt weird about that. I'm a curious person. I want to speak to everybody, but to an extent. Like, yes, I won't have a Nick Fuentes on the show. That's where I'm going to put my foot down and be like, no, I don't fuck with him. And that's just because it's like, I personally don't fuck with his views, and I don't think I can have, like, I'm not interested. I don't have anything to ask him. So it's like, why would I speak to you for the views, for the clicks?
It would have to be 100% gotcha, and that's not fun.
Yeah. And that's not what our show is. So it's like, I stay in my lane. Any other questions?
I appreciate the vulnerability. That was really nice.
Yeah, you know.
We
Any
do
other
have
questions?
a caller.
Oh, we do have a caller? Okay,
Yeah.
fuck it. Bring them on. The responsibility of new media, legacy media, like, how do you feel?
Alex brought this up, and it's like that's how you get a Nick Fuentes is when you have like these new introductory lanes into media. But I do at the same time I think there's a death of old media, and I think people don't want to. You had somebody on here earlier who said they get all of their news from Flagrant, which was one of the most concerning things I've ever heard in my life. But
couldn't agree more.
I know. Same.
But outside
We agree.
Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, I think the reason that people are flocking to that, and this is my real point here, is that there's an authenticity now to new media that people want to hear. And so like, rather than an edited down version of, Piers Morgan or whatever it is, you have people that can do direct to face videos, put it up, and they can talk on a topic. And the problem with that, though, obviously, is that you don't know whether they're an authority figure when it comes to that specific topic. However, you do have the ability to have an opinion. So there's a good and a bad to that, right? Where you can have your opinion, but it doesn't make you an authority necessarily. And so it's like, then it becomes on the individual who wants to take in that media to be able to discern what is true and what is false. And therein lies the issue, I think, with new media. But it's also, like I said, it's the authenticity of being like, oh, that's a real person. This wasn't edited down into some format that's is suitable for some narrative that a big media corporation is trying to push.
Do you trust legacy media?
I don't, but does anybody? I mean, I don't even know anybody who watches legacy media outside of my 6-year-old grandfather.
My parents.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would say our generation, or just new media in general, is getting our information from legacy media.
Well, to a point, yeah. I mean, when's the last time you've watched a full episode of MSNBC?
No, so we're
5
not
years ago.
watching it, but I'm saying whatever they tweet out or whatever articles, like, we'll.
Oh, you're saying that we still look at that as the authority?
Yeah.
Agreed. And I actually had my younger cousin. He asked me one time. He said, "Man, I don't know what to think anymore." I was like, "Man, buddy, no one does." But he was like, where should I go to get like a proper opinion about a certain subject?" And I found myself in that moment. I was like, "Damn, where do I even direct this kid?" Because you can't, because everything is either is leaning left or right. Right? There's very few. Are there any models that are still in the middle and giving you actual journalism? And so to push somebody to one or the other, I feel like you're pushing them down an echo chamber, which is why, then again, yet, like I said, that's why people are looking for these alternative ways of getting media and news sources, because they can discern which one they want to actually believe or listen to.
Yeah.
And rather than being force-fed a narrative,
Yeah, like I'm somewhat of a psycho with this because I will watch, like, intentionally, I'll go to Fox News, then I go to CNN, then I'll go to one of the places that I think are kind of somewhat in the middle, like a ground news or a drop site or something like that. And then after I get all those opinions, then I try to formulate mine. But I can't, I don't think anybody should do that, because you'll definitely get like news fatigue and shit like that. But
yeah,
it's just so hard to discern like who's telling you the right shit. And so it's like you got to hear all the point of views and then come to your own opinion.
I think that is the good part of merging almost the new media and the old legacy media together, so that you're almost combining it and getting maybe then you can get a proper opinion based upon both sides.
Well, Alex, where do you get your news from?
I was about to say, I think I grew up in a totally NPR household, like radio on all the time, WNYC. And I think at least with, and look at me now.
I know, say it.
I think at least with an NPR and New York Times, maybe it is siloed to the left, but at least I know that they've done the research. I think with the Fox News, it's siloed to the right, and I don't trust their fact checkers, but I am looking at both. And one of my best friends who's in law school, like, she made an account just to follow like Breitbart and all the Republican Twitter feeds. Like, she has an alt-right Twitter account just to see what's up. And she's like, you would not believe it. So I think exposure to everything, as painful as it is, like, does help. But yeah, I read the New York Times every day just to like sort of get an idea of what's happening. But I'm sure to like question and look at other places, because yeah, I think you're right. What do we even believe anymore? There's so much responsibility on you as a consumer to evaluate what you're reading.
I don't know. I have a different take on it. I feel like with the introduction of podcasts, Reels, YouTube, everything, it's almost like the smaller channels that were on cable just have a bigger platform now.
Ooh.
So take like, what was it back in the day? Like your channels like E, MTV, VH1. Now those platforms are like huge. So it has a more of an impact. So now people have better choices. Like, hey, if I want to get my news, I don't have to go to legacy media. I can just go over to MTV because they're, doing a couple different things. People have more options now. And I think it's hard to say that you can't trust one or the other when it really is just comes down to preference at the end of the day.
I mean, the bad thing about that, though, is that if there's so many options and people aren't giving you accurate information and you choose one of those options where you're getting disinformation, it's like that leads to a bad scenario.
I think you can always trust that any media source is going to provide you with information, but it's your responsibility to go fact check it. And I think it's always been that way. Even if you go back before internet, you hear something on the radio, read something in the newspaper, you still might have to go walk down the street and say, hey, I just read something about your aunt passing away. Is that true? Like, you know what I mean? So
that's so true. Like the early elections in US history, like they would like just publish lies about each other. And then you'd have to like figure out if like, did Thomas Jefferson die? Should I not vote for him anymore? Like, I think you're so right. And we're just like in a 2025 version, and it feels a little bit more like hell because it's like constant.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's constant. Something can happen right now outside my window, and it'll be on Twitter, and it'll be on Facebook, and it'll be on Instagram before it even hits the 5 o'clock news. So it's like by the time it gets to the actual legacy news, it's late. So if I want to be on top of things, of course I'm going to go outside of legacy because they're still on the schedule. They haven't been able to catch up with the now of things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yo,
Totally.
You couldn't have said it any better, brother. Yo, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate you. And
thank you.
We want to hear that voice next week,
We
brother.
got to work on our radio voices.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to be like, yo, what's up? How you doing today?
If anything, we got to work on a handle for you two. We'll call you XX Alex and then like just 1X Alex because Black Alex is wild right now.
Yeah, Black Alex is wild. I was going to say so.
The Alex and White Alex. We shouldn't say Black Alex.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of the discussion and call in, head over to patreon.com/AM Mornings. But if you just want to watch for free, you can watch us on YouTube/AM Mornings. Just like and subscribe so you get the notifications every Sunday, 11 a.m. Peace.